When David was already very old, the Bible reports that he was warmed by a young virgin, extremely beautiful from all the kingdom of Israel, named Abishag. However, there is a mysterious element in the nature of their relationship. This is because the biblical text states that David and Abishag did not have intimate relations. After David's death, Abishag's name was involved in a plot that resulted in Solomon's order to kill his half-brother Adonijah, who desired to marry the young woman. This has led scholars to debate exactly what role Abishag played in David's life. Was she a kind of nurse or caregiver for the elderly king? Or was she a concubine or secondary wife who, in some way, did not have consummated relations with David? Furthermore, Abishag was the woman mentioned in the Song of Solomon, which led Solomon to find his half-brother's love for her intolerable. That's what we will discuss next, so keep watching this video until the end to fully understand what the Bible says about Abishag. Despite being the young Shunammite woman who took care of King David in his old age, the story of Abishag is recorded in the early chapters of the first book of Kings in the Old Testament. The meaning of the name Abishag is not clear, but some scholars suggest that it might mean something like, "My father is a wanderer." Although the Bible does not provide much information about Abishag, she is mentioned in the context of the death of Adonijah, one of King David's sons. Abishag is described in the Bible as a young virgin from the city of Shunem, which was about 26 kilometers southwest of the Sea of Galilee, near Mount Tabor, in the territory of the tribe of Issachar. Due to the possibility of some letters being swapped in some ancient materials, some commentators suggest that the terms Shunammite and Sulamite may be equivalent in the biblical text. If this is correct, both terms refer to a woman from Shunem. For those who have read the Song of Solomon, this may raise some interesting questions. However, it is worth noting that this hypothesis is considered unlikely by most interpreters, as there is no evidence to support it. Therefore, the suggestion that Solomon fell in love with Abishag, and that she could have been the anonymous and mysterious wife mentioned in the Song of Solomon, is mere speculation. Returning to what we know for certain, the biblical text states that Abishag was an extraordinarily beautiful woman. The Bible recounts that, in the late days of King David's life, he had great difficulty staying warm, even with many clothes. The king's servants then searched throughout the kingdom of Israel for a young maiden to care for David and warm him in her arms. The chosen young virgin was Abishag, who took care of King David and served him. She was present when Queen Mother Bathsheba reminded David of the oath that Solomon would be his successor to the throne of Israel. After David's death, Adonijah, another son of the king, sought Bathsheba's intercession with Solomon so that Abishag could be given to him as a wife. This request from Adonijah caused great turmoil because there had been a conspiracy before to make him David's successor. When Solomon was officially anointed as king in place of David, Adonijah requested clemency for his life, which was granted. However, later on, Adonijah made the request for Abishag, and Solomon interpreted it as an attempt by Adonijah to seize the throne of Israel. At that time, in the ancient Near East, taking a woman who had belonged to a king implied a claim to the throne. Therefore, Solomon understood that Adonijah was directly challenging his authority as the king of Israel by desiring to possess Abishag. This led Solomon to immediately order the execution of Adonijah, as reported in the first book of Kings, chapter 2. The inevitable question that arises is whether Abishag was or was not a wife of David. In fact, scholars debate the true role of Abishag alongside David. Some argue that she was a concubine or wife of David, while others contend that Abishag was only a companion to David, in the sense that she was tasked with caring for the king in his final days, as a caregiver or nurse. This does not necessarily mean that she became David's wife. This is a complex discussion due to two factors. Firstly, the Bible makes it clear that King David did not have intimate relations with Abishag. The biblical text mentions that she was an extraordinarily beautiful young woman who cared for the king and served him, but it also states that the king did not know her. This expression "did not know her" means that David did not have intimate relations with Abishag. This information makes the idea of Abishag becoming David's wife uncertain, so it would not be entirely impossible that Abishag never belonged to the group of David's wives. Secondly, the way Abishag was associated with Adonijah's death suggests that, at least before the kingdom of Israel, Abishag was considered David's wife or concubine, even though they did not have intimate relations. This becomes more coherent when we look at Solomon's response to Bathsheba when she spoke about Adonijah's request to marry Abishag. Solomon responded by questioning why Adonijah was requesting Abishag, as if it were equivalent to asking for the kingdom. Solomon saw Adonijah's request as a direct threat to his throne, which explains his strong reaction. At that time, marrying a woman who had belonged to a king was often interpreted as a claim to the throne, as seen in the example of Absalom, who lay with David's wives in a display of power and a claim to the throne of Jerusalem during his rebellion. Therefore, Solomon's reaction to Adonijah's request suggests that he perceived Adonijah's marriage to Abishag as a threat to his reign. This implies that, in the eyes of the kingdom of Israel, Abishag was considered either the wife or concubine of David. Even though they did not have intimate relations, this association held significance in that society. Consequently, considering all these factors, most scholars believe that Abishag enjoyed the status of a wife or concubine of David in the kingdom of Israel, even though she never had relations with the king. Now please share in the comments if you were already familiar with the story of Abishag in the Bible, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel to stay updated on our upcoming videos.